Imagine walking through the forests of North and South America nearly 20,000 years ago. Suddenly, the trees begin to shake. Heavy footsteps echo through the land. But this isn't a dinosaur, and it isn't an elephant. Standing before you is one of the strangest animals that ever lived, the giant ground sloth. This incredible creature could grow over 20 feet long, stand nearly 12 feet tall on its hind legs, and weigh as much as 4 tons. Despite its enormous size, it wasn't a predator. It was a peaceful plant-eater that spent its days pulling down tree branches, stripping leaves, and roaming ancient forests and grasslands. Today, most people know only the small tree sloths hanging quietly from branches in the rainforests of South America. But millions of years ago, their relatives were true giants that dominated the landscape. Scientists believe giant ground sloths first appeared in South America around 35 million years ago. At that time, South America was isolated from the rest of the continents, allowing strange and unique animals to evolve. Over millions of years, these sloths grew larger and stronger. Their massive bodies protected them from predators, while their long claws helped them pull branches closer and dig for roots. When the land bridge connecting North and South America formed around 3 million years ago, giant ground sloths began a remarkable journey north. They spread across forests, mountains, deserts, and open plains, eventually reaching what is now the United States and even Alaska. Among the largest species was Megatherium, one of the biggest land mammals ever to exist outside the elephant family. Another famous species, Megatherium, became one of the most successful giant sloths in North America. These giants shared their world with mammoths, mastodons, saber-toothed cats, dire wolves, giant bison, and early humans. It was a dangerous world, but the giant ground sloth was built for survival. Its thick skin, huge muscles, and enormous claws made it one of the most impressive animals of the Ice Age. Yet despite surviving for millions of years, this magnificent giant would eventually disappear forever. What happened to one of Earth's most unusual mammals? That mystery begins with understanding how these giants actually lived. At first glance, the giant ground sloth looked slow and defenseless. But appearances were deceiving. Unlike the small tree sloths of today, these giants spent almost their entire lives on the ground. Their powerful legs supported an enormous body, and their long, curved claws were among the most impressive weapons in the prehistoric world. Some claws measured more than 12 inches long. They were not designed for hunting, but they were perfect for pulling down tree branches, digging for roots, and stripping bark from trees. When feeding, the giant ground sloth could rise onto its powerful hind legs and use its thick tail like a third leg, creating a stable tripod. This allowed it to reach leaves and branches more than 15 feet above the ground, far higher than most other plant-eating animals. Its diet included leaves, twigs, fruits, shrubs, and other vegetation. Every day, it needed huge amounts of food to support its massive body. Scientists believe these animals spent much of their day slowly moving through forests and grasslands, searching for fresh plants. Although they were not fast runners, they were incredibly strong. If danger appeared, the giant ground sloth could stand upright and defend itself with its massive claws. A single swipe from those powerful arms could seriously injure even the largest predators. During the Ice Age, predators such as saber-toothed cats and giant short-faced bears may have thought twice before attacking a healthy adult giant ground sloth. Its thick skin and powerful muscles provided even more protection, making it one of the toughest herbivores of its time. Fossil evidence suggests that giant ground sloths lived across a wide range of environments, from tropical forests to dry grasslands and even cooler regions near the edge of the Ice Age glaciers. For millions of years, this unique giant thrived. It adapted to changing climates and survived countless environmental challenges. But then, around 12,000 years ago, everything began to change. A warming climate and the arrival of human hunters would create the greatest challenge the giant ground sloth had ever faced. And this time, survival would not be so easy. For millions of years, the giant ground sloth had survived changing climates, powerful predators, and dramatic shifts in the landscape. It seemed almost unstoppable. But around 12,000 years ago, the world began to change faster than ever before. The last ice age was coming to an end. Massive glaciers that had covered large parts of North America started to melt. Temperatures slowly rose, rivers changed course, and forests expanded into some regions while grasslands disappeared from others. These environmental changes affected the plants that the giant ground sloth depended on for food. In many places, its habitat began to shrink. At the same time, a new and highly intelligent species was spreading across the Americas: humans. Early hunters quickly learned about the giant animals that lived around them. Mammoths, giant bison, mastodons, and giant ground sloths all became potential sources of food, hides, and bones. Unlike other predators, humans worked together. They planned hunts, made stone weapons, and used teamwork to bring down animals much larger than themselves. A full-grown giant ground sloth was extremely powerful and dangerous, but younger, older, or injured individuals were much more vulnerable. Archaeologists have discovered fossil sites where the remains of giant ground sloths were found alongside human tools. While scientists continue to study exactly how often humans hunted them, the evidence suggests that people and giant ground sloths lived side by side during the final years of these remarkable animals. Many researchers believe it was not one single cause that led to their extinction. Instead, it was a combination of rapid climate change, loss of habitat, and increasing pressure from human hunting. As the centuries passed, giant ground sloth populations became smaller and more isolated. Areas that once supported thousands of these giants could no longer provide enough food and safe habitat. One by one, populations disappeared across North and South America. After surviving for tens of millions of years, one of the largest and most unusual mammals in Earth's history was approaching its final chapter. The age of the giant ground sloth was coming to an end. Around 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, most giant ground sloths had disappeared from the American continents. After surviving for millions of years, the giant herbivores that once dominated forests and grasslands were gone. However, their story did not end there. Thousands of years later, explorers and scientists began uncovering enormous bones buried deep underground. At first, no one could believe that these remains belonged to a relative of the tiny tree sloth. As more fossils were discovered, researchers slowly pieced together the life of this forgotten giant. Complete skeletons revealed powerful limbs, massive claws, thick bones, and a huge tail that acted like a third leg when the animal stood upright. One of the most famous discoveries was Megatherium, a species first described in the late 18th century. Its fossils amazed scientists because they belonged to one of the largest land mammals ever known outside the elephant family. Even more surprising, fossilized footprints have been found in several locations across the Americas. Some sites show giant ground sloth tracks crossing paths with early human footprints, offering a rare glimpse into a world where humans and these incredible giants may have encountered one another. Scientists continue to study these fossils to understand how the animals moved, what they ate, and why they disappeared. Today, giant ground sloths are considered one of the most extraordinary mammals in Earth's history. They remind us that the planet was once home to creatures unlike anything alive today. Their extinction also carries an important lesson. Changes in climate, combined with pressure from expanding human populations, can have lasting effects on even the largest and strongest animals. The giant ground sloth may be gone, but its fossils continue to reveal new secrets about the ancient world, helping us understand life during the Ice Age and the challenges that shaped the history of our planet. The giant ground sloth was one of the most extraordinary animals ever to walk the Earth. For more than 30 million years, its ancestors survived changing climates, shifting continents, and countless natural challenges. They evolved from small tree-dwelling mammals into enormous giants that shaped the forests and grasslands of the Americas. Although they looked slow and peaceful, these animals were incredibly powerful. Their massive claws, thick muscles, and immense size made them one of the most impressive herbivores of the Ice Age. Yet, even a creature this strong could not escape the combined forces of a changing climate and the arrival of humans. By around 10,000 years ago, the giant ground sloth had disappeared from most of the Americas, leaving behind only fossils and footprints as evidence of its remarkable existence. Today, every fossil discovered tells another part of its story. Scientists continue to learn how these giants lived, how they interacted with their environment, and why they vanished forever. The giant ground sloth is more than just an extinct animal, it is a reminder that Earth has always been changing. Species rise, adapt, and sometimes disappear when the world around them changes too quickly. Its story also teaches us the importance of protecting the wildlife that still exists today. Many modern animals face challenges similar to those that ended the age of the giant ground sloth, including habitat loss and climate change. Perhaps one day, millions of years from now, future generations will look at the fossils of today's animals and wonder how they once lived. The giant ground sloth may be gone, but its legacy lives on through science, discovery, and the lessons it leaves behind.